Admiral, thank you for being with us today. Thank you for your continued service to our country as well. Appreciate all of your efforts. Admiral, China's hostility towards Taiwan acts and of aggression in the South China Sea, and certainly the military growth that we're seeing from the Chinese requires a conventional deterrent, but unrestricted warfare also requires comprehensive deterrence, as you know. I think Admiral Mullen described it as two challenges and one fleet. So my question to you, Admiral, is where do information warfare and low intensity conflict fit into your priorities within your command? And I ask because the PDI doesn't appear to project growth for the JTFIP. And the question is it simply a low-cost endeavor, or does it reflect a more limited role in the overall strategy that you're pursuing?
No, it's not meant to be a limited role at all, Senator. I do think it is a low-cost effort. That said, much of what we've accomplished with Joint Task Force Indo-Pacific, looking backwards in the years past, has been taken out of hide in order to to properly man it and equip it. I'm trying to round out the investments there so that the shortcomings I've taken in the rest of the portfolio, that JTFIP doesn't come at that expense into the future. But I think it's actually key to our deterrent approach going forward.
Well, thank you, Admiral. A partner government that shares our view on regional security landscape, that may not necessarily reflect the majority view of its own society, even when it's combined with security cooperation. So a constant tension for those governments. So my question is related to how Indo-PACOM can actually bridge this gap through civil military initiatives. So my question for you, Admiral, is to what extent do you see initiatives such as Pacific Angel and the embassy civil military support elements playing a role in your command strategy towards China specifically?
I think they're key efforts as well, Senator. We were talking earlier about a whole-of-nation approach to meet these challenges, and those two organizations you highlighted, help knit together multi-agency efforts in that particular regard.
So a U.S. Army Pacific Element Task Force Oceana has a continuous presence on 10 Pacific islands using two-person augmentation teams that kind of shape both the physical and the informational environments in those places. How do you believe we can better enable these units to make sure that our strategic message is having the impact that we would like it to have?
Well, it is an element in my 1251 request for the PDI. We call it Operation Pacific Resolve writ large, but the proper resourcing of it is to do precisely what you've asked for, to deepen first our interagency relationships, and then as well to deepen our partnerships with other nations on matters of concern to those other nations. Because that's really the basis of our relationships across the region. The Army's involvement, and indeed all the service components, have an approach out here that's very similar. Their execution of it is critical to our overall strategy in the region, and frankly is the day-to-day connectivity with counterparts on the ground, in the air, and in the maritime, and all those places.
Well, thank you, Admiral. I appreciate those responses. Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
Thank you very much, Senator Peters. Now, let me recognize Senator Blackburn via WebEx.